In the 23 years that I've been alive on this earth, in the 14 years that I've spent following the NFL, I have never had as much optimism about the Raiders going into a season as what I currently have right now. With Tom Brady becoming the minority owner of this organization, something just feels different about this team. Do you Raiders fans feel the same way? For the first time in forever, you actually have a reason to be optimistic. And it's not your casual, oh, I'm a fan, I got no choice but to be optimistic because it's the offseason. Like, no. Tom Brady, with the moves that he has made, from the hiring of John Spytek as your general manager, bringing in Pete Carroll as your head coach, the Raiders have a chance to be something that they haven't been in a while. And that's an actual good team. Now, I know they made it to the playoffs a few years ago with their interim head coach, Rich Bisaccia, and they did have a playoff appearance one year under Jack Del Rio, but those were seasons that you didn't really feel coming. Every year in the National Football League, we have one team that overexceeds expectations, that's better than what any of us expect them to be. Last year was the Washington Commanders. This year, that team possibly could be the Raiders. John Spytek had a really good draft class. Okay, Ashton Jeanty, 6th overall. It doesn't matter if he played in the Mountain West. That game he had against Oregon showed you how good he can be against top-tier competition. He also had a really good game against Penn State where the dude converted a 3rd and 21. Ashton Jeanty is going to fix the biggest issue the Raiders offense had last year, which is their inability to run the football. They were dead last in rushing yards per game. Ashton Jeanty is going to solve that problem. He also is going to help bring the best out of Geno Smith. When Geno was at his best playing in Seattle with Pete Carroll, he had a legit rushing attack. And you give this offense another all-pro caliber weapon alongside of Brock Bowers. Some of the other notable draft picks that John Spytek made, he drafted Jack Bech, who's a really good route runner. He has reliable hands. He should be a good target for Geno Smith underneath. He should be his safety blanket in third down situations if teams are doubling Brock Bowers. You get help on the offensive line. You get a really good deep threat in Deontay Thornton out of Tennessee. There's a lot to love about what the Raiders did in this past year's draft. And some of the other notable additions that they made in free agency. Jeremy Chinn at safety, Eric Stokes, who are going to help improve what was a shaky secondary from last year. And Pete Carroll, although he is the oldest active head coach right now, he still is good enough to have this team better in late game situations than what Antonio Pierce did last year. The Raiders didn't get blown out in every single game they played. They were in like 5 or 6 one-possession games that they lost due to poor coaching. Rather, if it was special teams mishaps or mishandling the snap like Aiden O'Connell did and that Black Friday loss against Kansas City, those are all the signs of being a poorly coached team. When you're not good on special teams, when you just find ways to choke games in the fourth quarter, that's signs that your team was not well coached. Pete Carroll, although he may be a little bit past his prime, what he does is make the Raiders respectable. You can no longer look at this team on paper and mark them down as a guaranteed W. They're going to be a physical and gritty football team. Getting Geno Smith is the same as getting Pete Carroll. He's not great, but he's good enough to make you respectable. He's going to give the Raiders stable quarterback play. Geno could give the Raiders better quarterback play than what they had since Derek Carr was an MVP candidate damn near a decade ago. all of the moves that Tom Brady has made, from the hiring of John Spytek, bringing in Pete Carroll, has already fixed the Las Vegas Raiders before the season has even started. This would not be a 3, 4, 5-win team. The Raiders, at their worst, should be a 6 or 7-win team, with the floor being probably 10 wins max. This is a division that is highly competitive, but you don't know. Maybe somebody gets injured. Maybe a team underperforms. As good as what the Broncos and the Chargers and the Chiefs are, the Raiders have improved just as much as those other teams. And sometimes you can't always judge a team based off the talent that they have on paper. Sometimes we have teams overachieve because of good coaching, and Pete Carroll is still a really good coach. He's going to be a future Hall of Famer. This division could get 4 teams into the playoffs this year. That's how good it is. You got 4 future Hall of Fame coaches in this thing. So with Tom Brady being the minority owner, he has made this team respectable. Even if you don't make it to the playoffs, at least when you watch Raider games, you're not just watching and expecting this team to lose anymore. Like, you can watch Raiders games with the expectations that you have a shot to win against anybody you play on any given Sunday. And as a Raiders fan, what more can you want? Year 1 under Pete Carroll, you probably may not be expecting a lot. Your expectations are probably still modest, but you wouldn't be crazy if you were to tell me that, JT, the Raiders are going to win 9 or 10 games and we're going to be in the playoffs. Last year when y'all was saying that nonsense, I was laughing at you. This year, though, if you come in the comment section and you say that, I would tell you, I may slightly disagree. I think you'll be an 8 and 9 team. But if you tell me you win 9, 10 games, I wouldn't get mad. I'll nod my head and be like, I can understand why. I saw a video on X, Jackson Powers Johnson introducing himself to Ashton Jeanty, and I was like, bro, this Raiders offensive line is better than what a lot of people think. You got Cole Miller at left tackle. You got Jackson Powers Johnson, who was the best rookie center in the league last year. I mean, this is a pretty good offensive line. With the physicality that Pete Carroll's going to instill in this team, I wouldn't be sleeping on the Raiders this season if I was any team that had to play them this year.